Some have coined this place Queensland Raceway since Tony took over in 2021. He and the team here have breathed wonderful new life into this great little bullring. Fans can line the entire circuit and see every moment, every inch of the action. These two, Jared Hughes and Summer Rintle, know it well. They created history last time out, but they're looking forward to having a great run at home. Welcome to the both of you.
How are you, big fella?
Great to see you. What is it like on the run down to turn one? How critical is that?
Yeah, well, this is our home track, so it's pretty exciting to be here. Turn one's definitely a crucial part of the track. You carry so much speed through both of these corners. Turn one's got that little bit of a dip in the road, which can mess around a couple of the cars and move you around a little bit. So just making sure you position yourself right on the track to get through that corner, carry your speed and get that entry right for turn two.
And it's a crucial part, turn two. If you get someone up the inside of you after turn one and they make you go narrow into two, you're sort of hurting yourself down into three. So these corners are so crucial. You need to make sure you're getting it right. Make sure you're not having a little dice too wide because you can lose so much momentum.
Approaching turn three is obviously a bit of an action zone, chance to pass, but I think as you said before, it starts back up there.
That's way back there. So for us in the McLaren, we need to flow as much corner speed through turn two as we can because we don't have that mid to end of straight top speed. We need to try and sort of block ourselves from getting a pass down into here because the Mustang Zone's Beamers, they got a bit of top end speed, so it all starts back there.
Every manufacturer through here is going to take a little bit of a different line. So all the big horse-powered cars, the Mercedes, the Fords, they'll come through here, they'll hit their apex, and then when they kind of get to the middle of the corner, they want to square up that exit a little bit. In the McLaren, we'll come through, we'll hit our apex, we get to the middle of the corner and we straighten up a little bit, but we really want to keep that line as tight as we possibly can all the way up until our exit to make that track.
So fundamentally like hugging it the way around. Yeah.
We want to keep that track as short as we possibly can.
So we're approaching the centre of the paperclip now, and crazily, this is our first left-hander.
Exactly, and this is another corner like turn three where you can take a lot of different approaches. For us, we want to flow as much speed on this entry phase as we can, not using so much of that little crossroad there, whereas a couple of the other manufacturers use a lot of that entry road on the right-hand side, set up for a nice exit so they can get on the throttle nice and straight.
And what about the corner that immediately follows
it after? It's hard. For us, that will be a strong point because we're so agile with our McLaren chassis that we'll be able to carry a lot of speed, whereas for the bigger, heavier cars, that corner is a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass to put it lightly.
Definitely, you want to get that good run off of turn five and really aim for that dive bomb here for your final chance onto that main straight to take that win. It's a little bit more difficult for those higher horsepower cars, but for us in the McLaren, it's really good.
A nice thing to touch on too, it's real slippery on the inside there, so if it does rain, watch out for those cars on the inside because they might not be able to hang up there long.
I am out of a job. The Summer and Jared show. That is a lap of Queensland Raceway.
A great look at a great racetrack. Yes, this is the paperclip and this is Shannons Speed Series round 3 for 2026. It's the LIQUI MOLY GT Festival of Queensland at the Willowbank Motorsport Precinct this morning on the drive-in. The Ipswich Car Club just up the road, packed with the future of our sport, and what a stunning day for it too. Headed for a top of 24 degrees. It's currently 19 degrees. Look, a chance of rain, the Bureau says 10%. I think looking at the skies around us right now, that is unlikely, but we saw a little bit of the wet stuff yesterday that really spiced things up. Hello and welcome to our coverage. Chris Stubbs with you. Great to have your company on Fox Sports, on KO Sports, on GT World, on YouTube as well. And great to have Charlie Barlow alongside me. Good morning, Charlie. We've started with a bang today already.
We certainly have. We are in the thick of it as GT World Challenge Australia are heading out. Not long before the headline act takes to the track. We had a packed pit lane here this morning, Stubbsy. Lots of fans getting up close to the beautiful machinery and, of course, sticking around to see them take to the track for race 2 very shortly. It was awesome to see so many people coming through the gates on a Sunday morning.
Exactly right. No better way to start your day. Grab yourself an autograph and a photo with some of the stars like, yes, Will Davison, Brian Kearney, some of the biggest names in Australian motorsport are here. All right, let's have a look at our calendar. It's an important race today because we are at the halfway mark of the season. We kicked it all off at Phillip Island before heading to South Australia to the Bend. Now we're at Queensland Raceway. Up next, we head north to Hidden Valley Raceway in Darwin. That's our next stop next month. The penultimate round, Sydney Motorsport Park. And then we wrap it up at a historic and iconic racetrack, Sandown Raceway in Victoria. But remember, GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS, they wrap it up with the Adelaide 500 with supercars. But today, a packed schedule of racing.
certainly is. Hope you had your breakfast. At 10:25 a.m, GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS, they head out for their race 2, 1 hour race today. Then at midday, Motorcraft Mustang Cup Australia, they head out for race 2, followed by Monochrome GT4 Australia. They have been running under lights, but now we see them racing in the day. That'll kick off at 1:15 p.m. Then at 2:35, First Focus Radical Cup Australia will race their final time today, Stubbsy.
Very much looking forward to that. Very much looking forward to finding out a bit more about some drama from yesterday's GT World Challenge Australia race. For more on that, good morning, Greg Rust.
Chris, g'day to you and to Charlie and everyone watching. We kind of reset on Sunday, but we wanted to put a full stop on an incident that happened in yesterday's GT3 race, and it involves the Arise Racing Ferrari of Elliott Shute and Darren Curry, who is with us here now, down at turn 6, beginning of the race. You'd had a good qualifying. What unfolded from your point of view?
From my point of view, it was just unlucky for me. Elliott put it up the inside at 6, I felt, jammed me in the rear, and it was race ending for me. So look forward to today and just put that behind us and move on from there.
We have some exclusive onboard vision there from the category, just to show our viewers at home the perspective of what unfolded. Now, officials have moved overnight. The results at the end of yesterday's race have been adjusted because of a penalty. 4 grid spots, or 4 spots at the end of the day for the Ferrari. It drops Elliott Shute and Jackson Evans ultimately to 8th in the results yesterday, and that has a bit of an impact on them from a championship perspective. They didn't necessarily want to talk to us this morning. I sensed they want to be eyes forward, but I also walked into the garage there and sensed a bit of little bit of tension, if you will. I don't know that they feel like the punishment fitted the crime. Can we put a full stop on it from your side of the ledger?
Yeah, look, from my side, 4 grid spots is nothing, considering, we lost 4 laps. So going forward, though, I just put it down. It happened yesterday. Let's move on today and move forward. That's the end of it for us. So we just want to move on.
Appreciate you talking to us this morning, Darren Curry there. This is a game that is very much about cutting-edge aspects of automotive and racing, and Chris Stubbs decodes it now with a little bit of tech talk.
Well, we are so lucky here at the Shannons Speed Series that we have some of the most high-performance vehicles on the planet that come and play with us. Now, behind that obviously comes pretty high-level technology. Bosch Motorsport, that's where we're lucky because they are our motorsport technology provider. James Cocker is alongside me. We're talking this week ABS. We understand it, it's in our road car. We get that it assists us with our braking. It's in these. What role does it play though here? It's a bit different, right?
Yeah, absolutely, Stubbsy. So, biggest difference between road car ABS and motorsport ABS is road car ABS is designed for safety first. It's designed to handle all sorts of tarmac, snow, gravel. You don't get that on a racetrack. This is asphalt racetrack first, and it's designed to handle big brakes, big tyres, big aero like these cars have. Another element that is not on the road car is adjustability. Drivers can go from 1 to 12 settings in this car, depending on the track, depending on their tyre condition, depending on their aero, depending on anything the track can throw at them.
Josh Buchan, let's talk high performance. ABS in the car, how do you use it? It's been described to me as the dark art of racing. Would you agree?
It can be. I mean, ABS, obviously, you might think it's a cheat code. You just slam the pedal and it does all the work for you. And to a point, initially, it's certainly like that. When you first experience it, you go, oh my God, this is so easy. It does everything. I'm just a passenger. But in actual fact, like anything in motorsport and in high performance, the easier something looks, there's usually more to it. We have 12 settings. They're not there for show. I often do what we call an ABS sweep during a session or when first going out, and that's going from the lower end of the scale right to the higher end of the scale and just seeing what the track conditions will accept with the ABS.
Ken Campbell, we need to get your point of view. ABS for an AM driver, how important is it for you?
Incredibly important. I think it allows me to be able to start at a level and quickly be able to get confidence within the system of ABS and go from relatively slow into corners and just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, knowing that it's going to be there and all the purple lights are going to come on, and it's got an enormous amount of trust.
Obviously, data is going to play a role in making sure you get the best performance, and that's, Marshall, where you come in.
Yes, exactly.
So how much play and say do you have in what you're seeing from the drivers?
So, for example, if Josh comes on the radio and say, hey, the car is over-rotating under braking, I know that we need more ABS intervention on the rear, just to get the rear more stable. And based on these feedbacks, based on what we see on the data, we can find what is the best position on those many ABS positions that we have. So it's a lot of work from the engineer side, but also it's very important to have a really good driver's feedback, so then we can find.
So there you go, that's a great example of how Motorsport ABS and Bosch Motorsport are combining to make sure that every little bit of performance is extracted from these motor vehicles. And you'll see it probably at its best at Turn 3 right here at Queensland Raceway this weekend at the Shannons Speed Series.
They are great partners of ours, and that's an aspect of our game that fans really enjoy indeed. We're on the grid getting set for the final race of the weekend, the GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS. This is a great time of the weekend, but it's also an important time now. I think you detailed at the top of the show today, compressed championship. We are going to be basically at the halfway mark, and from here, we go to a round that nobody has been to before. Bit of neutral ground, the top end, Northern Territory. Yeah, looking forward to Hidden Valley Raceway, that's for sure. Yes, the fans there are so passionate, but like you said, I mean, it's crunch time in the championship now, and it is so tight at the top. Now, when we talk about ABS just then, this track, it has been damp. There was a little bit of rain again overnight. Now, it has started to dry out already, but even if you look around where we are now, it's quite patchy, isn't it? There's going to be different levels of grip for getting these cars off the line just here on the grid, let alone as you get out and make your way around just these 6 turns that on paper, the paperclip looks simple, but we know it's just not, isn't it? It's a great venue, this one here, and it's got a nice kind of warm winter temperature about it for Sunday's racing. And we invert what happened yesterday. So the pros are all here on the grid, many of the AMs that we'll be hearing from as well. This is I love this time of Sunday. Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it, when you've got someone like, I mean, Brock Feeney's just walking off beside us. I mean, we've got some of the biggest names in Australian motorsport here, like your Ryan Wood, Juso Jada, guys that are at the front of the field in supercars. Some veterans, Tony D'Alberto, I hope he won't mind me calling him that, Will Davison as well, but some of the coolest cars in the world. We've got the Mercs, the Ferraris, the Lamborghinis, the Porsches, the Audis, the list goes on. So you're smiling at that thought, so am I, and so is everyone at home. Absolutely. I reckon it's time that we take a little wander along the grid, isn't it? So. And Charlie Barlow is among all of the action and many of the stories before we go racing on Sunday here at QR.
Thanks, Rusty. Come down to P5 with Ryan Wood, chatting a little bit about yesterday, because it was less than ideal for you guys, having a bit of an issue in the Audi, so put a full stop on that for us.
Yeah, unfortunately, Steve pulled up and it was all normal, and then when he went to take away, the battery was dead. So, yeah, that made our day pretty difficult. We went 8 laps down, but once we got back out there, it seemed like the car was quite speedy. So, yeah, I'm just a little bit gutted with how I executed yesterday. So today's about a bit of redemption, so we'll try to get the eyes on and go forward.
Yeah, today is a brand new day, sun is shining, so of course it's lovely to come racing here at Queensland Raceway. You've been travelling all over the world, mate. You've been in Monaco, been living it up, but great to be back here and in race mode.
Yeah, 100%. This is my job and I love coming back, and yeah, got to try and put my best foot forward today. Got some fast cars around us. One day we were on the inside, the track's wet on the inside, so we'll have our work cut out at the start. Got some fast guys around us, so we'll just see where we end up.
Go well.
Thank you.
Rusty?
From one fast Kiwi to another with Brendan Leach at the front of the grid here, an all-Tagani front row. And yesterday, it was a bit challenging among the teammates, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Look, we had, at the stop, Oscar put a tyre on and we didn't. So I had a little bit of an advantage over him on that first lap, but I just couldn't get anything done. And obviously being teammates as well, I needed to be extra careful as well. So making sure we're collecting good points for the team. Obviously leading the team's championship by a country mile, so really proud of the guys for that. It's really, really cool. Excited for today's race off the front row again. So just getting better and better in this Mercedes and loving every moment.
He spoke glowingly in commentary when he was with us yesterday. I'm talking about Oscar Target, who we'll hear from in a moment, about that kind of culture, that collective energy that is happening in a Tagani at the moment. You're a part of that. You're all, even though you're up against each other here, you are drawing from all of the players among the cars here, aren't you?
Absolutely. Like typical no iron team sort of thing. Like we all work together really well, and we need to lean on each other for all the information that we gather and trying to make the car as good as possible with the cards that we get dealt. So, no, it's great to have Oscar, great to have Juice, and all our other guys in the team too. It's just fantastic to be able to lean on each other and just keep moving the team forward and yeah, obviously just try to keep putting this thing on the front row every time. It's fantastic.
All right, so a chance for some silverware. What do you do to beat your teammate?
I'm just hoping it stays wet on the inside, you know, or it falls asleep, or he just falls asleep. But no, it's fine. Look, we'll get through turn one, see where we're at, and then press on. Hopefully we can pull a bit of a gap to the cars behind. I'm doubtful, but yeah, we'll see what we can do.
A global GT gun for hire. Awesome to have this guy as a part of our championship here. Let's go back to Charlie.
Thanks, Rusty. I thought I'd come and chat to one of our debutantes, Cameron Rees. Welcome to GT World Challenge Australia. Yesterday, it was a very successful debut. You should be super proud of yourself.
Yeah, I was super happy. First time in the car, first time in the track. Just great that Volante Rosso could help me. And yeah, had lots of fun. Got up to P9. Unfortunately, ran out of steam in the back half, but finished P12, unscathed car. Yeah, really happy.
It's a great trophy class as well, running with some real veterans of the sport. So what are you working on yourself, though, to get the most of yourself this morning?
I think this morning, key thing, obviously all the pros in the cars, see if I can manage to stick on to the back of the train. I think after the pit stop, I'll be able to make up some ground, hopefully on some of the bronze drivers. But yeah, just enjoy the session and try and get faster as the day goes on.
Well, welcome and go well.
Thank you very much.
Stubbsy?
Thank you. Well, here at the front of the grid, the pole man, Oscar Target. We've just had a chat to your stablemate there in Brendan Leach, and he did pick up that, yes, it's a little more damp on this side. It's a bit patchy out here, isn't it?
Well, yes, I did question if you're allowed to swap sides of the grid as the pole sitter, but apparently you're not. So, yeah, it's getting drier by the second, and just, you know, standing out here, it's getting drier and drier, and, you know, these cars got a lot of heat in them already from the install lap, so they're sort of drying the ground as well. But, yeah, it does look like P2 is actually the preferable side of the front row.
So what do you do about that? There's already been a little bit of banter. Sergio Perez saying that if you get down there in first place, the lease fee goes up on the car.
Yes, well, it is actually Sergio's car, so both of them are Sergio's cars. So, yeah, I don't know who he's sending the bill to, but it's not coming to me. So it'll be interesting. Yeah, it's going to be, you know, hard. Even turn 1 and 2, it's a bit of a one line at the moment. So I think if you see anyone side by side, it's going to be a bit of action.
And the pace yesterday, second place means you do get that penalty added, the 10 seconds of success penalty, if you like. So it is important, as much as we banter, to get a good, clean start.
Yeah, it's very important, and, you know, to try build a gap, to try take a bit of an edge off that 10-second success penalty. And it's a bit of a thing in this category. Normally, it's very rare you see two people in the same car on pole. So normally you stagger your strategy to favour one day, but starting on pole both days, you just got to go all in on both. So, yeah, we had a good crack yesterday and brought it home second, and hopefully we can get another podium today.
Mate, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Charlie.
Thanks, Stubbsy. Heading on down to P6, where Josh Buchan is starting from today. Yesterday, P10. You were saying that you kind of qualifying was a bit challenging yesterday.
Yeah, before the red, it was all okay. I think we were P2. And then after the red, just with how the traffic worked and people trying to find gaps and cars wobbling and doing all sorts of things, both my quali runs after the flag were compromised dramatically. So I was behind Woody. He speared off, and then that caused a drama that I was involved in, and it was all no good. So car's a lot quicker than that. I think yesterday we were second in the stint for quickest car, so it's probably where the car is, but you know, around here it's going to be tough to move forward from here, but a few of us are out of position. Hopefully we can move forward.
And a big day for you, because this evening you jump on a flight and you're heading over to Europe.
Yeah, some joint named Spa goes all right from what I'm told. So yeah, I mean, I know QR pretty well, so it's actually been quite hard to get Spa out of my brain, trying to think of how to go through bits and pieces. This is on autopilot, but yeah, 9 o'clock tonight. If you look high enough, you'll see a couple of happy fellas heading over to Spa.
It's fantastic. You're such a massive ambassador for the talent that there is in Australia, so have the best time in Spa.
Thank you very much.
Russ?
Saturday was a history-making day for the combo in this car. Renee Gracie and Will Davison, top of the podium. We reset, we go again on Sunday. You're doing a little bit of ergonomic stuff in here just now as you get settled. What were you doing just a second ago?
Actually, I was just making sure that the TC ABS and sort of throttle pedal position was all set correctly. And just doing a little ergo tweak. Renee and I run the pedals, steering wheel in different positions, so just making sure it's as I want it.
Yesterday, you were very gracious, mate. I think you wanted to ensure that it was more or less Renee's moment because so much has gone into this for her. You naturally do play a part in this. What was it like last night when you all kind of sat back and reflected on a great day here?
Just very rewarding. Of course, I had some personal satisfaction. I'm a racer. You know, I love racing against these amazing pros and still feel like I'm doing a really good job at that. But more, you know, just knowing what it means to Renee, how much she's put into this. And it's a big moment for motorsport. It really is, because she earned it. She really did a sensational job. So, you know, I've had great moments in my career. And yesterday was another one. Just even working with her, coaching her. It's very different to what I'm used to. Very rewarding and generally just very proud of her.
You might have a cracking Saturday, or Sunday, I should say.
Thanks.
Thanks, Rusty. Just head on down to Juice Ojeda. Jaden, yesterday, P7 finish.
Yeah, 15-second success penalty from our win at Tail and Bend. Makes the first race always extremely difficult, but, you know, not starting ideally where we would like to, but for sure we'll have a decent go. I think Woody's going to be pretty fiery off the start here, so I'll just try to see what carnage he causes and get amongst it as well.
See what carnage he causes. Blame it all on him, right?
Yeah, 100%. He's the main cause of every incident.
Go well, Juice. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Head up to commentary now. We're getting ready for race 2, GT World Challenge Australia. Krause?
Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate that. In the bright sunshine on the Queensland Raceway grid. Good morning to everyone joining us around Australia and indeed around the world on GT World. Looking forward to race number 2 after a competitive battle yesterday. Thomas Randall is alongside me in the commentary box here at QR. It's a Mercedes AMG front row, but there's some pit stop penalty times to play out in this one, Thomas. There's a number 1 Audi on the inside of the second row of the grid that, for mine, is looking pretty dangerous today.
I think you're not wrong there, Krause. Good morning to you. Good morning to everyone tuning in on this glorious morning we have here at Queensland Raceway. Wow, what a grid we have here today for our second and final race of GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS. Bit of a jumbled grid after qualifying yesterday. We had that sort of mid to late session red flag, and it really put the pressure on the drivers to try and get that lap in at the end. And it was a damp track, lots of mistakes, and we've got Oscar Target for his debut pole position.
Well, yesterday's race was a competitive affair and a historic win. Thanks to Wade, we can jump to the cool-down room and see how the drivers reacted to race 1 yesterday.
Really good start.
Good start.
Yeah, I got a shocking start.
Yeah, I did well here.
I definitely thought I had you. It didn't feel that bad.
You were very kind to each other there.
Yeah, that was the cleanest.
At that point, I was on the roof yelling at you. You're clear, you're clear.
This is where it starts.
I could see it.
I
hit me
on
the way into there, and then I tried to drive him out. And then this one here.
This
is where I thought
I looked
to the
here.
I'm
like,
we're fucking on here.
Yeah. Sorry. And then I drove around the outside there.
I thought you were gone, Serge.
I thought I was gone too. But I was like, I'm not letting this.
I remember sort of glancing and constantly seeing like
gases
of car. Oh yeah,
just licking the stand, send it.
That was
good move and stop me corner.
Yeah.
Is that first gear?
Yep.
Good move.
And my eyes were closed.
That was impressive. Full ABS, pulsing on the foot.
Yeah.
Stuff done.
I was like half
Brad was stuck there. He couldn't do a lot.
Better on the brakes.
And Ferrari really good on brakes, especially turn 4.
And we're sort of just.
Wheels just cruising. Oh no, coming down.
Oh yeah.
You were cruising, man.
Yeah.
You come in hot, you went, I think you went a bit long.
Yeah, because the Audi engineer had his sign out, and I was like, I'm turning in if he doesn't move out of the way. It was messy.
Well, they got us back, they pushed me back, and I'm just like, I'm gassing this, so I'm just going to try and spin the wheels and get around.
Brendan probably need to work on that.
Just damage off for your bar.
What are you two doing?
I was just on the block.
We
haven't discussed that.
Yeah.
You know where Luke and Nathan
I was calling for the switch in the garage, but no one was listening to me. Everyone's ignoring me.
Yeah, whatever it is, cruising by yourself.
Yeah.
It was a bit lonely.
What happened? There was a lap there.
2 seconds on my lap.
Yeah, I had I got to like a false neutral. So all the way through 4, 5, I was just stuck in neutral. And I'm on the clutch. And then I was on 5th gear.
Yeah, good job, guys.
Yeah, I shot myself.
Very exciting.
Yeah, well done, everyone.
Yeah, good job.
Well done, Renee.
Thanks to Wade Motorsport. That was immediately post-race yesterday. We took the drivers away in the Wade motorhome out by the podium, and they get a little debrief. And it's funny, the quietest person of them all was Oscar Target, who has spent more time in the commentary box than the race driver's seat for a lot of the last year. But that was yesterday. This is today, and it's Mercedes AMGs 1 and 2 on the front row. Thanks to the pro driver qualifying yesterday, it was Oscar Target who just edged out Brendan Leach for the top spot on the grid. Brock Feeney and Will Davison on the second row. So there's a huge amount of talent there with Ryan Wood and Jackson Evans. And just to put a full stop on the Jackson Evans Arise Racing GT thing with Elliott Shute, we saw the contact. We heard from Darren Curry earlier in our broadcast this morning. It was a drive-through equivalent post-race yesterday. So it dropped them from 4th to 8th in the finishing results of yesterday's 1 hour race. No grid position penalty. It was a time penalty applied, the equivalent of a drive-through for contact with Elliott Shute. Arise disagreed, the Audi team agreed, and well, that's motorsport sometimes, isn't it? Here's how they line up for race number 2 here at Queensland Raceway. So Target and Leach, Feeney and Davison, Wood and Evans on the third row of the grid. Jaden Ojeda out of 7th. That car needs to make some moves and make them quick. Luke Gilden on top in the trophy class in front of Paul Stokel. Josh Buchan out of 10. Valentino Astudi, Tony D'Alberto, Alex Peroni, Miles back in 13th with work to do for BRM, and Cameron Rees rounding out the 14 cars. Now the start is going to be interesting, Thomas, because the inside line is, it's not wet, but it is a little greasy. So putting traction down or getting traction is going to be a challenge on that run into 1.
It really is, Crailsy, and we've already got Cole Pirelli tyres, and on the warm-up lap, Oscar really tried to get as much rubber down on the inside, and like he said on the broadcast with his interview, he can't switch sides, he can't go onto the drier side of the track, so fingers crossed he can get the traction when the lights go out here very shortly.
Sunday racing in GT World Challenge Australia. We're at the halfway point of the championship, and every single result matters from here. AMGs 1 and 2, it's Brendan Leach sailing around the outside of Oscar Target. Has he got enough track position to hold on? The Audi off a Studi bouncing through the undergrowth on the exit of turn 2, but a brilliant start from Brendan Leach. The commitment around the outside has been good enough to see the guy of Valmont Racing Car get in front of his teammate. Third place is Brock Feeney. His old mate Ryan Wood is right in behind him, so ground early from Wood. Will Davison's there, and Jackson Evans sliding around the outside.
Yeah, Evans, nice move around the outside of Will Davison. So Will Davison started on the outside of row 2. He's dropped back 1 position, and a great start for Ryan Wood as well. So he's up into the top 4. So Evans right in behind Wood, and great start for Brendan Leach. I mean, it's just that experience that he's got over Oscar Target, that confidence that he has on those Cole Pirelli tyres, and also to trust his teammate to go around the outside of him at turn 1 and turn 2. So it's Brendan Leach that leads, that have essentially swapped positions as Buchan now trying to go around the outside Davison around the final corner.
Really?
And he runs him off, actually.
Yeah, really challenging opening lap for Will Davison, who's tumbled down the order. Buchan squeezed out wide, and Alex Peroni, who started on the back row of the grid, is up to 8th position already and got a free position out of that contact as well. Buchan clinging onto the Zagami Ferrari.
A puncture maybe, right rear, puncture potentially. That's really taken them out of contention, which is such a shame because we know how much pace is aboard that Ferrari, the Zagami Ferrari, so I reckon that could be a right rear puncture for Buchan, unfortunately.
He's got a lot of work to do, was hustled back down through the field, so there's been some big movers early. Ryan Wood is one of them. Jaden Ojeda already up to 6th position, needed ground. Alex Peroni, the biggest gainer of them all, up from 13th position into 8th at the end of lap 1 in 3.2 Ks of Queensland Raceway. So busy start. Luke Gilden leads the way in the trophy class. So busy start to this one with track position so critical as they position themselves for the pit stops. Will Davison, so Buchan out wide. Didn't look like there was any contact there, but just out over that sort of rumble strip, the concrete apron on the exit of turn 6. And then this was the more serious contact with Valentino Astudi at turn 1.
Yeah, so Buchan was trying to get around the outside of Will Davison at the final corner, got ushered wide, lost all that momentum, and it was Valentino Astudi who actually went off on turn 1 on lap 1, and there is that puncture. So he's going to have to go really slowly here, trying not to damage the right rear of that Ferrari. He's probably going about 20 or 30 kilometres an hour, making his way very slowly back to pit lane. But yeah, it seemed like Astudi actually had a fair bit of overlap into turn 1. So I think race control probably will look at that and say play on. But it's just so unfortunate for those guys. Although he's going to be able to put it out of his brain pretty quickly. As you said, he's getting on a plane tonight to head over to Europe. So he'll have to just put that one out of the memory bank. But this is the battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Oscar Target just losing a little bit to Leach, who's skipped away out in front.
Yeah, and Leach has got his car working better on a cold tyre sooner. They've done a nice job getting past Josh Buchan, who on the same, just put that car hard left on the road to make sure he was clearly out of harm's way. So he links that car back to Shannon's pit lane for a stop and a new tyre, but that will put them at least 1 lap down, probably more in the end. And he and Cam Campbell are going to have some work to do. So scratch 1 Ferrari out of this one. Brendan Leach by 1.7 seconds now. Phenomenal early stint for he with Sergio Perez to jump into that car in the back half of the race. And we saw how well Sergio drove at the last round of the championship at Tailem Bend. If he's given a car in the lead, he can absolutely stay there.
Well, the game plan for Leach will be try and build a 5-second buffer over Brock Feeney. So with their 3rd place finish yesterday, they've got an extra 5 seconds in the pit stop. So Target, they've got an extra 10 seconds, so it's not too much of a concern for Brendan Leach. But where this can help Tagani, if they can work together, and for Oscar, maybe if he can back Brock Feeney to be further than 5 seconds, as we see they're changing that. Well, they're actually changing the left rear as well on the Buchan Ferrari. But if they can extend that gap back to Brock Feeney by more than 5 seconds, Leach could come out, or Perez could come back out in the lead after stops.
Yeah, so this could work really well for Tagani. The 56 car that we're watching now, leading this freight train, has a longer pit stop than the car in front, and an even longer stop than that number 1 Audi, currently driven by Red Bull Ampol Racing Supercars driver Brock Feeney, who is as good in a GT car as he is in a supercar. So there is a real possibility here that the 56 could do the 44 a massive favour, even if it's not intentional or team play per se. And you'd believe that Oscar is driving this car as hard as it can be driven at the moment, but in clean air, out in front and not battling for position, Brendan Leach is looking very good. To Shannon's pit lane and Greg Rust.
Just to clarify what Thomas sort of question marked in his commentary there, they changed the damaged tyre at Zagami Autosport, so they replaced both rears, but they also changed the tyres down completely the working side of the car. So they changed 3 tyres in that stop.
Thanks, Rusty. And that is a destroyed Pirelli P0. A massive hit, and they would have just checked under the rear guard of that car to make sure there was no associated damage to suspension components and underbody. The underfloor aero on these Ferrari 296 GT3s especially, relative to even to all the other cars in the field, is incredibly sensitive, so any damage can affect the balance of the car. So Zagami would have made sure that that car's all good, especially with Cam Campbell to jump into it for the 2nd half of the race. Leach by 2.8 seconds now. Last time by 1:07.46. It's only less than a 1/10 of a second away from the lap record here, which is held by Jaden Ojeda, set back in 2024.
Leach is absolutely flying crazy. He's got that gap back to Brock Feeney at the moment, 3.2 seconds. And we've got Ryan Wood, who was ultra fast yesterday. They were 9 laps down after that battery voltage issue. It was one of the cells in the batteries failed. It was only a battery that was a month old. So unfortunately for them, that put them out of the running. But Ryan Wood was super fast. He was near lap record pace yesterday. So there's this big battle pack in behind Oscar Target. Leach here, as he crosses the line, 1:07.500. So the lap record is a 1:07.39, which was set 2 years ago. So we're very close to that. And whether or not the team will be on to Brendan Leach about that, I think the main focus for them is trying to extend that gap to at least 5 seconds to Brock Feeney.
Attitude of these aero cars into turn 1 is pretty serious, isn't it? The way they're moving around, and that bump on the entry, the turn-in point to turn 1, appears worse this year than it has been for the last couple of years. And the attitude, the Audi R8s especially, which are a really stiff platform, a mid-mount V10 engine, they're really savage over the bump. Ryan Wood has got a run on Brock Feeney here.
Yeah, Brock's really under pressure. He's going to have to cover, but he's got to be careful because it's damp on the inside.
Oh, Wood gets down the inside. There's contact. Contact between Wood and Feeney. And Ryan lifts out of it. He backed out of that move. He knew it might have been a bit too ambitious.
And that all just aids that lead for Brendan Leach. So we just spoke about going down the inside on the damp track, as here comes Ojeda trying to go down the inside of Jackson Evans. So this is really bunched up, but I think that was the right move for Ryan Wood. Knew the move wasn't on, and just that little bit of damp patch on the inside caught him out, and it's play on. So race control, I can't imagine they'd do anything with that. So status quo for third and fourth, but that's dropped Feeney now to 4.8 seconds behind Brendan Leach. So Brendan will be out in front licking his lips for that. So let's just have a look at what's happened down at turn 4. So Feeney's gone to cover, and then Feeney's gone back to the outside, realising that the track is damp on the inside, and there's contact, but that could have been a lot worse, Crailsy.
What is it with these two? Seriously, they always find themselves on the same bit of racetrack, trading paint. Been well documented, the events of the last 8 months. They both have been on the record saying, no, we've moved on from all that. It's all beyond us now. And yet here they are. They still find each other on the same bit of racetrack. And they might both be Audi R8 LMS Ultras, but they are being run by different teams. Team MPC, Melbourne Performance Centre, and Audi Customer Sport Racing Australia, and Team BRM, who have expanded to 2 cars this season. Alex Peroni still running in 8th. In fact, has tacked onto the back of this freight train. So there's Target, there's Feeney and Wood. Then it's Evans and Ojeda and Will Davison and Alex Peroni all locked together in 3rd through 8th position.
Yeah, so Peroni just stuck in behind Will Davison, our race 1 winners yesterday. So Davison and Rene Gracie, they're going to have an extra 15 seconds in the pit stop. So that'll essentially take them out of contention. So great start for Alex Peroni, like you touched on, Crailsy. He's back there in 8th, but the gap now between Leach and Feeney is out to 5.1. So if it stays like this, and if the Tagani guys can absolutely nail the pit stop, there's every chance that Leach could potentially still come out in the race lead. The other car to look at would be the Ryan Wood car, because they don't have any pit stop compensation time either. So, like I said, if it stays like this, Leach could be sitting pretty.
Hence the energy from Ryan Wood trying to get past Brock Feeney, because they're on the same race. 2 cars with no compensation time, fighting for track position later in the race. And these GT World Challenge races that we're always thinking about half an hour in front of where you really are when the compulsory pit stops happen. Feeney sets the personal best lap of the race for car number 3. That margin, car number 1 in 3rd place. That margin remains pretty consistent at 5.3 seconds. Leach 4.1 to Target, but that exchange between Feeney and Wood was what caused Brock to drop out of that 5-second window, which is the difference in pit stop times between this car that leads the race and the car that's in 3rd position at the moment, being driven by Brock Feeney. Brendan Leach, though, serenely out in front. Clean air, cool air, going into the radiators and the big 6.2-litre normally aspirated V8 that sits well behind the front axle in that Mercedes AMG GT3, which is one of the most successful GT3 platforms of all time now. They've been racing for close to a decade, having replaced the Gullwing SLS. Mercedes, to understand, have got the next generation of their GT3 program in the works, a couple of years away, but might change a good thing at the moment. The GT continues to be an outstanding platform for the team from Alfalterbach and AMG and that incredible performance brand.
Well, as of prior to yesterday's race, they were leading the manufacturers' points globally for GT World Challenge. So as a race driver, Crailsy, you don't want anything more than what Brendan Leach has right now. Leading the race, clear track, perfect conditions in a GT3 car around Queensland Raceway. It's as good as it gets for a pro driver. He's going to want to stay in that car as long as possible. So we know the pit window will open in about 16 minutes. It opens 30 minutes into the race for the Pro-Am cars, and it's open for about 5 minutes. So they're going to want to leave these pros in right to the very depth of that pit window. And it's just about how they time that, because if you're out of sync with crossing the line relative to when that count's down, you've got to be careful that you don't miss the window. So we'll just see how this plays out.
You've got 68 seconds to play with here at Queensland Raceway, really, which is basically a full lap to sort out your pit stop strategy. But you can run 2, maybe 3 laps longer than you might otherwise, depending on where that 5-minute window opens to get into pit lane. So the trophy class cars will, of course, stop first. Luke Gilden leads the way there in the Porsche. Actually, isn't that far away. He goes past screen now. He's not that far away off the back of Alex Peroni, actually, only 2 seconds off the ACMF Audi. So Luke's having a really good weekend. He's the chief driving instructor for the Porsche track experience down at Mount Cotton. Had the opportunity to go out and belt around the skip pan with Lukey a couple of months ago, actually. Pretty impressive stuff. That boy could drive, as if there was any doubt about this winner.
How many spins did you have?
No, I wasn't driving. I was on the passenger seat. Yeah, no,
Were you hanging on for dear life?
Oh, yeah. I'd leave it to the absolute professionals. And Luke is an absolute professional. Bathurst winner, of course, with Erebus in that remarkable story. The Youlden family have got such a long history in Aussie motorsport. Kent and Uncle Brett Youlden, and it goes on from there. Success in production car racing, the Bathurst 12-hour back in the day, and Luke has been there, raced that, driven it all, and he's just finding great joy, I think, out of driving it. Cameron Rees is off the road in the Aston Martin, which is running third in the trophy class at the moment, position 13 outright in front of only Josh Buchan, who's been in pit lane for that puncher. And Leach now 5.2 seconds clear of Oscar Target, let alone Brock Feeney, who started to zone back into the back of the number 56 Mercedes. So having fended off Ryan Wood, collected himself for a little while, young Brock continues to set out and try and get second position away from Oscar Target as we zoom in on Jackson Evans. Got the whole family here this weekend. Saw Dad John yesterday, Mum Deb. Sister's actually just had a new addition to the family as well, which is great. So the Evans clan enjoying their motorsport. Saw them chatting down to Bill and Andy McElray and all the team. Jackson looking to get some redemption from yesterday. It was pretty... chat to Jackson about it all after the race. Pretty philosophical about it all. Didn't talk too much about the penalty that happened. Just wanted to get his head down. And it's been a frustrating weekend for that side of the Arise Racing GT garage. They've been very fast, the Ferraris, this weekend, but it feels like they haven't maximised the performance they've got. The sister car has. The OnlyFans car with a brilliant win yesterday, but the 26, it's just been a battle.
Well, the 23 of Josh Buchan, we know they're 2 laps down, but he's got the second fastest lap of the race with a 107.6. So the top 8 cars have all got into the 107.9. So we thought we'd look back at the race start, which this is what's really set up the race for the Brendan Leach Mercedes. So a little bit damp on the inside for Oscar Target. Plenty of racing room given, and he just hung tough around turn 1, and there was a little bit of overlap there into turn 2, and this is where that experience really counted for Brendan Leach, and that's what's got him this 5.4 second lead, as we saw a Studi go off at turn 1 as well.
Yeah, and I was keeping my eye on Alex Peroni in the Audi, who had 4 cars cleared by the time he got to the exit of turn number 2. Helped a little bit by Studi being bundled out wide there at turn 1. So really aggressive stuff from the Tasmanian earlier in the race to get those key positions and get that car into the mix for when Mark Rosser jumps in behind the wheel in the back half of this one.
I think Woody's getting pretty frustrated now in behind Brock Feeney, who's in behind Target. Earlier, when Feeney was on the back of Target, I think he really cooked his front tyres, and that's what put the pressure on him for Ryan Wood. But now it looks like Feeney's having another attack at Target. So that gap between Leach and Target's nearly 5.5 seconds. So Leach is just out in his own, punching out mid-7s, whereas Target's got a lot of pressure on him now, which he had a lot of pressure on him yesterday from Brendan Leach. So he knows how to handle that pressure.
Wood's had another good run out of turn 3,
Great run.
Tom. I don't think he's going to send it here, but Feeney just gets that car turned in a little bit, covers the nose in the battle between the 2 Audis. So it's Mercedes, Audi, Ferrari, the top 5 at the moment, in the knowledge that Brendan Leach is going to have a longer pit stop. Oscar Target is going to have an even longer pit stop, but it'll be short stops for Feeney, Wood and Evans and Ojeda. So they're all aiming to get ground out of this, and they'll do so the longer they all stay bottled up behind Target in that number 56 car from Tigani Motorsport. Team based in Wollongong, they have had a massive expansion in the last couple of years. Justin Tigani has been drafted in to fill in for Shane Smollen, who is away on business this week and couldn't get the round, but he'll be back for the next round of the championship up at Hidden Valley Raceway in Darwin at the end of July. So we're looking forward to that, but Justin's done a great job in this Mercedes AMG team. They ran and represented the factory at the 12 hour this year. They've got big ambitions, big plans. Team from the Gong on the coast, just an hour or two south of Sydney, have been really impressive in the way they've grown their program. And right now their cars are 1 and 2. And their aim is to get out of the pit stops with at least one car in the lead and then see what they can do with the number 56 car and how high up they can get with that longer pit stop time. But right now it's working really well for Brendan Leach. This has been a mighty stint for the young man from Invercargill in New Zealand.
And this is a great opportunity for that car to bag some much needed points, especially for a race win. So a race win is 25 points. If they can hang on here, at the moment they're third in the championship thanks to that drive-through penalty, the post-race drive-through penalty that Allian Shute copped. And Leach and Perez, they're 12 points behind the Feeney Schumacher car in the championship, which that car leads the series. Ojeda and Lucchini are second in the championship on 64 points. So if Leach can hand it over in the lead to Perez, and if we can see another one of those tail and bend drives from Sergio Perez, they could be really close in the championship in behind Brad Schumacher and Brock Feeney heading into round 4.
Yeah, and the irony of that penalty for the 26 Ferrari yesterday was that it cost them the most in the championship as well. It was so tightly packed. The top 9 drivers, 5 cars, essentially were split by 12 points, but with that penalty, it basically cost ARGT 10 championship points. So they went from second in the championship and 5 points behind Feeney and Schumacher to being down in 8th and 9th position in the championship now, those two drivers, and 15 points behind Schumacher. And all of a sudden, the number 1 Audi's championship lead extended out to 8 championship points. That's cool. On the left is Svetlana Pukila, who's the championship category manager for GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS, and 2 absolute legends. She's chatting to, in the middle, of course, Dick Johnson, Hall of Famer, one of the greatest of all time and a legend of our game, and Stephen Johnson, champion race car driver as well, chatting on. And a little bit later on today we'll have the Johnson Cup in the Motorcraft 4 Mustang Challenge, which is coming our way. Another good run from Ryan Wood here. It looks like turn 2 is the place where the Wolfbrook Audi gets the best run, but it's not a particularly long braking zone in a GT3 car into turn 4. So to send one there, as we saw 10 minutes ago, is a optimistic move that you need to be confident you're going to be able to pull off.
So back to that lap 1 move by Brendan Leach. It might not have seemed much at the time, but that could have been one of the most critical overtakes that he could have done for this championship. You think about it, Crailsey, if he was still in behind Oscar Target, 5 seconds would drop him to about 6th or 7th on the road after the pit stops. But by getting that move done, extending the lead, if he comes back out into the lead of this race, that's a massive difference in points to what he would have been if they dropped down to 6th or 7th. So, yeah, might not have seen much at the time, but that was a critical overtake that's going to pay dividends if they can hang on to the end of this one.
Yeah, and in true Brendan Leach style, we were never left wondering what his intent and his ability to complete that intent was, because it was hung out around the outside of turn 1, hung out around the outside of turn 2, and then in front of Oscar Target. Full credit to Target as well for giving the racing room. No contact between them, good teammate racing, but it was hard, it was fair, hugely competitive, and as you say, very critical. The guy, Valmont, now up by 6 seconds, so every 10th he builds from here, there's just a little bit more fat they can add on to that pit stop, a little bit more leeway in this battle when we get to the pit stops in about 5 minutes' time.
It's going to be exciting to see Perez versus Schumacher.
Yeah.
We've seen that showdown a few times. So as it stands, it should be Schumacher that comes out of the pits in 2nd position, and he'll have the red mist, I'd say, wanting that race win here at Queensland Raceway.
Sergio will prefer it, Schumacher, I think, than maybe some other drivers in the field who he's had some run-ins with in the past, including the very kinetic opening lap of yesterday's race. Here's the battle a little bit further back for 7th and 8th position. It's Will Davison. He's got Alex Peroni tucked in behind in the ACMF Audi R8 LMS. As we go back to this fight for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. And Feeney closer now to Oscar Target than he has been in a couple of laps too. The Audi uses all of that exit road. The exit of turn 3, bouncing out over that curb, and then the short shoot down into 4. Now only 2 left-hand corners on the circuit.
So after the pit stops, the 56 Mercedes, just looking at the timing, he's probably going to pop out around about 8th position once the Will Davison OnlyFans Ferrari gets their extra 15 seconds. So they'll drop down to about 7th or 8th position. but should still be the 44 leading the way. Stubbsy?
Yeah, I thought we'd quickly jump in with Steve Brooks. We're about to have our pit stops obviously take place. Brooksy, what's going on? Ryan Ward and Brock Feeney, they are magnets to each other, but that was experience, I think, from Ryan in the end.
Mate, yeah, that's right. Like, Ryan's got the pace. You can see he wants to get past. It's just such a struggling track to get past anyone. So, you know, he really wants to get past now, and he's pushing really hard.
How's the strategy in today's race coming to you guys? Because you don't have any penalties from yesterday, so that's up your sleeve.
Yeah, no, I think it's just, look, eyes forward and try and make sure we stay out of trouble. I think all the M's now, they're almost as fast as each other as we saw in qualifying, so it's going to be really exciting second half of this race.
The battery problem yesterday, that really hurt. No issues or hangovers from that today?
No, look, the battery was only 2 months old. The cell broke in the battery, and I'm sitting there on the grid going, look, there's no one around. So, no, we changed the battery straight away, got back out, and so today it's looking, the car's on fire.
Good stuff. Lovely. We hope that's not literally, because you're about to jump in it. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you. Bye-bye.
He's a great character, Steve Brooks. He does a lot for New Zealand young talent. There's a Wolfbrook scholarship fund of 70 grand New Zealand dollars that goes towards a young driver in GR86s over there. He's actively involved in the Canterbury Go-Kart Club too. And he's a ripper character just to have a chat to. Very passionate about his motorsport too and improving his driving. And that is what Ryan Wood's doing. And it's funny, he's been a supporter of Ryan's career for several years. And Woody said, hey, how about some more support? And Brooksy said, well, why don't you come and drive my GT car instead? And being a good professional race car driver, Ryan said, yeah, absolutely. That sounds great, which is what he's done.
It's probably the closest Woody's been. Sorry to cut you off there, Crailsy, but this is about the closest he's been in quite a few laps.
So you could say the same about all three of them, really, because Feeney is still locked up to the back of Oscar Target there as well. Drivers have been talking about how critical clean air is here and how challenging it has been to overtake at this place. And the different strengths and weaknesses of the cars and the way they produce their speed. The Mercs always get out of a corner so well, for example, sort of just means that making a pass requires an enormous amount of commitment and certainly a little bit of risk to get it done.
Yeah, back to Brooksy, Crailsy. I think that would be a very entertaining podcast if Sir One Greg Rust were to sit down with him for an hour. He's got plenty of stories. He's a heck of a character, and he's a great bloke. What he's done for New Zealand motorsport as well, and to have him here in the series is fantastic. First time for him here at Queensland Raceway this weekend. He's really enjoying it. Made the switch to Team BRM this year, and I got the pleasure of being with him for the first 2 rounds. And yeah, he doesn't let up with Ryan Wood out of the car, shall we say?
No, the banter is ferocious at times, and if you got the two of them on a podcast, I'm not sure, even though there are a few rules about what you can do in a podcast, I'm not sure you could actually publish that anywhere. It would be hilarious, though.
He did ask me yesterday if he could come up and join us in commentary, and I thought...
Brooksy did.
He did. So we'll have to keep that one up our sleeves.
Yeah, maybe later in the season, perhaps. It would be entertaining, there's no doubt about it. Good for the Kiwi audience. Proud Cantabrian from the South Island of New Zealand. This battle continues. Will Davison's dropped off the back of Ojeda over the course of this stint to the tune of 6.5 seconds now. So the longer run, the OnlyFans Ferrari struggled a little bit today, which is very different to where they were yesterday, because the back half of yesterday's opening race, that car was super strong and super consistent, and Davison was able to build the race lead. He inherited a 1.6 second lead after the pit stops. He built that out almost immediately to 4.5 seconds, and that's where it stayed. It just came back a couple of seconds towards the end of the race as he nursed the car home. But right now, just struggling a little bit for the raw overall race pace in car number 181.
So Luke Youlden and Paul Stokell in for their mandatory pit stops in the trophy class. Luke Youlden's been leading that class for today, and they got the race win yesterday, even after that little bit of contact with the KFC Audi.
So they'll have a longer pit stop. The pit stop compensation time applies to trophy class as well as it does the Pro-Am cars in the race. So if you win yesterday, you have 15 seconds added to your time, and you go a lap down under green flag conditions here at Queensland Raceway with the full mandatory pit stop.
And the pit window is just open now for the Pro-Am as well. So unlike yesterday, I don't think you'll be seeing any of them pit on this lap. They're going to extend that as long as they can, with Leach now a 7.2 second lead over Oscar Target. But it's that gap between Leach and Feeney that we've been tracking. So as it stands, he should have a comfortable lead once he hands it over to Perez if they nail the pit stop. So that is a crucial pit stop for the Tigani Motorsport team, which they're normally pretty good when it comes to pit lane.
And what's worked well for Oscar Target when he jumps in that car, Tigani jumps in that car, is the gap that's opened up behind Jayden Ojeda to Will Davison as well. Davison on his own has got 15 seconds to serve with Rene Gracie as a result of winning yesterday, and that's really close. And now Wood gets up the inside. They all checked up there at turn 4. There's more contact between the two Audis, and off the road goes Brock Feeney. Ryan Wood goes through. Critical moment just before the pit stops at Queensland Raceway. Wood and Feeney at it again, and it's Ryan Wood who squeezes through.
So it looked like Feeney went wide there at turn 4.
It's almost like he got checked up behind Oscar Target at the apex of 4, and the car understeered wide. Will Davison's in, so they've elected to pit the OnlyFans Ferrari early. Or earlier at least than they needed to, because these guys have got definitely this lap, maybe one more they can squeeze in before that window closes.
So Woody then had overlap into turn 5, which is a tricky one to fit 2 cars through there, and he did not let up. He kept the foot in it, and unfortunately Feeney ran off out of turn 5, whether or not there was a bit of contact through turn 5 as well, but this has allowed Wood to finally get that move done over Brock Feeney, and that's just helped Brendan Leach as well to maintain the lead. But wow.
Well, Steve Brooks said Ryan Wood was fast. They were confident in the pace of the Wolfbrook racing car. He showed it there, he took the advantage, and now he is going out after the back of Oscar Target. They'll stay out again this lap and continue on for one more time. Let's have a look.
So Feeney ran wide out of turn 4, and then Woody had,
there's a touch.
There was a touch, slight bit of overlap, which then put Feeney off wide in the marbles out of turn 5. Here we go, this is a good shot. So there's a little bit of contact there. That's a tough one to call. So Feeney's ran off wide, and that's cost him, because those 2 cars, the 2 Audis of Wood and Feeney, they don't have any compensation time. So the order that they were in would have been what it would be once they leave the pit lane after the stop. So that was a critical move for Wood. And it's going to mean that Brooks is going to be in front of Schumacher when this pit stop happens.
Not far away from a stop. Just working on getting a little earlier look at that replay, thanks to Wade Motorsport. So a little bit earlier, right where the leaders are now. So this is as they're barreling down into turn 4. Look at Target, and it just catches Brock Feeney out. So slowed up on the entry to the corner, and you're right, he just ran wide, and that was all the opportunity that Ryan Wood needed.
Yeah, and there was that tiny bit of contact right front to left rear between Wood and Feeney. And then I don't know whether Feeney just maybe looked in his mirror and tried to give him an extra bit of room, bit of breathing room. And
now here they come. So the Wolfbrook team have come in, Tigani have come in, but staying out, Brock Feeney staying out, Jackson Evans, Jayden Ojeda and Alex Peroni. They've elected to go one more lap, which they will get in the 68-second lap here at Queensland Raceway. They'll get some clean air, they'll get the ability to drive as hard as they can on the in-lap and see if that can play out during the stops.
And I reckon one of the big reasons Tigani's done this is so that this car, the 44 Mercedes, doesn't get boxed in by the 56 when leaving the pit lane. So this allows the 56 to leave the pits. So then when the 44 comes in, that car will have clear road leaving the pit lane.
And it was pretty tight in the lane as well between the Ferraris yesterday. We saw that they had to push Will Davison back to get him out behind the 26 car during their stop. Brendan Leach yet to stop as well, by the way, and why change when you're onto a good thing with an 8.4 second lead, and he now comes into pit lane, as too does Feeney. And they'll all roll in now because it's right at the end of the pit stop window. So they'll all get to that control line before the window closes. So they've extended that stint as long as they possibly could.
So just having a look down pit lane. So Feeney's in. Like you said, all the top guys are in. The top 9 cars are all in. Leach just pulling into his box. And as he pulls in, the 56 Mercedes leaves. So that's just been timed to perfection.
So it's a full lap, as we said. Went down a lap for a brief moment and then goes again. Out goes Darren Curry. So the AM drivers jumping into these cars. The reigning champion Brad Schumacher will jump aboard the Kelso Electrico Shaw and Partners car. The tyres going on the Tagani car. Now, they did this yesterday to car 56, and they put a left front on it yesterday, and Oscar said it was a reasonable call, but it did take some time for him to get up to speed, and that was where the big margin came from Will Davison back to that car at the end of it. Door shut properly.
I don't think it is shutting. So that's costing them a lot of time.
Oh, no.
A lot of time. So that looks like a latch issue. It's like it's not latching into the striker in the door.
Oh, these are the tiny little 1%ers. They were in the box seat for a podium finish in this race. Championship leading car. Dramas to an innocuous component. The door will not latch. And it is a safety issue. The door must be firmly shut.
They can't release that car until that door is shut. And
they're tumbling down the order as it is. This is a massive moment. Meanwhile, the leaders have gone through. Car 44 still finds itself in front. Alex Peroni out. They're going to race tape the door shut. This is killing the race for car number 1. Massive moment. Championship leader. They were staring down the barrel of a podium in race number 2. Right now, they're at the back end of the top 10.
Interesting to see how Motorsport Australia Race Control view that, having the driver door taped shut. Yeah, so that car only just is leaving pit lane now, so they're well out of contention, down in 11th place, so it's going to be effectively 0 points if it stays like this.
Meanwhile, the battle for the lead will be between Sergio Perez and Elliot Chute. So this has all worked superbly for Arise Racing GT. The young West Australian now finds himself within a shot for the lead, but Sergio Perez, there is your race leader. Chute behind in the Ferrari. Steve Brooks is 3rd, thanks to that aggressive stint from Ryan Wood. Paul Lucchini is 4th, and Mark Rosser is going to be 5th. Justin Tagani, the 56 car, remember Oscar Target pitted that from 2nd position. They had 10 seconds extra to serve. They have resumed in 7th position. Then it's 6th position. Then it's Adrian Deeks, Darren Curry, Renee Gracie in 9th. Nathan Halstead in 10th position.
Can you believe their luck? And there's the door, it's still open. So that tape pretty much did nothing. And that car's going to have to circle back through pit lane if he can't get it shut on the track. But what a shame. So unlucky for those guys. I mean, how can you even predict that the driver door won't stay shut, as there it is, the Audi's back in the lane. And just something else to note is that Chute jumped Brooks in the pit lane. Yep. So he must have just nailed that pit stop for the 26 Arise Racing Ferrari. There is the number 1 Kelso Electrical Audi, unfortunately back in pit lane. So this takes them at least a lap down. Oh, what a shame for those guys.
So it looks like it's got hinge damage at the front as well.
Yeah, even more tape to try and shut that door. I just worry for them if that's the safety issue, taping it up. But what else can you do? So what a shame for those guys. Like you said, Crailsy, championship leaders. And if this car on screen, the 44 Mercedes, can hang on here and grab the race win, wow, they're going to have a massive buffer over the Feeney Schumacher Audi.
There were 2 tiny little moments of contact in that battle between Wood and Feeney, but at no point did I think it got the door.
No, it looked like it was just contact with the left rear.
Yeah, so whatever that issue is, it is a completely random one. Our team in the lane will get to the bottom of it, I'm sure, but they are 13th position now, out of the championship points. Meanwhile, the big winner out of this whole sequence has been Arise Racing GT and the Ferrari squad, looking to give the prancing horse 2 wins in as many days. After a winless start to their season, champions of a couple of years ago, this team, in a brilliant season. Can they bounce back and reclaim the championship lead this weekend? Steve Brooks is catching them, though. Brooksy is catching them down in the Wolfbrook Audi. So it's Mercedes, Ferrari, Audi 1, 2 and 3, and that could be the battle for the race lead in the closing 20 minutes of this one.
Oh, massive moment there for Chute out of turn 2. Wow, that's the last thing he needed, because if it had stayed like this, they get up into 2nd position in the championship.
And Steve Brooks is right on him too.
And he's got past.
Just behind this race-leading car. And there it goes. So Steve Brooks goes through. 2nd position changes hands.
But it all changes again in the blink of an eye, Crailsy. Wow, what an opportunity. Dropped, unfortunately. Now Chute's just got all that work to do again to try and get back past Brooks. So it's 18 points for finishing second, 25 points for a win, and 15 points for third. So those 3 points could be crucial.
Ryan Wood and Steve Brooks as a combination raced all last year, and the first 3 rounds of this year have yet to win together in GT World Challenge. They have been close on several occasions to getting that checkered flag first. This is now an opportunity, but to do so, he's got to catch Sergio Perez. And the margin's 2.8 seconds with 17 minutes to go.
So goes through turn 2, has a massive tank slapper, catches it, but he just runs out of road and onto all the dirty stuff. We know it's wet out there, and then he's got all the pickup and all the dirt on his tyres. Goes to try and defend Brooksy, but there's really not much he can do. He has to brake early. He's got all that rubbish on those Pirelli slick tyres, and it just gifts that second position for Brooksy. And look who's catching in behind is Paul Lucchini. Rusty?
There was a decent cheer that went up amongst the Wolfbrook crew led by this guy just then. What did you say to Steve on the radio?
Yeah, I think our biggest thing is just eyes forward for Steve, and yeah, he's managed to get into P2, which is awesome. So error on my behalf coming in that lap earlier. I just saw Oscar come in and I was like, oh, it must be, you know, time. So yeah, maybe cost us a bit of time because Shoot and Jackson jumped us, and we obviously had a fair margin on them before the pit stop. So look, Steve's doing an awesome job. We'll just see what we can come away with.
Quickly, it was a good battle with the NPC Audi. How did you play that? Just tell us what rolled out from your decision-making standpoint.
Yeah, look, I think our cars were doing stuff quite different, which is funny when we've got the same badge. And yeah, I was patient, and Brock just went in hard at 4 and managed to get a bit of overlap, and felt like it was really hard and fair racing, and it was good fun. But yeah, obviously it got to the wet curb, and then that's you know, what all she wrote for them. But it was gutting to see that I think their door wasn't shutting then. So I would have liked to see a battle with Steve and Brad then, but it is what it is.
The commentators were talking before when that happened. You were further back. It wasn't with the door that may have triggered this for them. You were further back, weren't you?
Well, that's good then. I hope I didn't have anything to do with it, but it was good.
It was more my question.
Yeah, I don't think so, but going back out now with a new door, so obviously I think it was a pin fault by the look of the telecast, so gutting for them, and obviously they're in the championship league, so a tough day for them.
You okay, Chief? A bit of a sweat on there at the moment.
I ran no aircon. I'm trying to get ready for Darwin.
Yeah, thank you.
A bit of heat training for Ryan Wood there, working hard behind the wheel, and what a stint it was. And what that did was actually help unpick a little bit to explain why the 26 car arrived up. So Ryan Wood said he pitted a lap earlier than they had planned. The Ferrari went a lap longer. So essentially they got some overcut. They stayed out a little bit longer in clear racetrack while the Audi was in pit lane doing the driver change. And for that little bit of overlap there was Am Driver versus Pro. And Jackson Evans' in-lap was very strong. So they actually got a little overcut, which is how the Arise Racing GT Ferrari ended up in front of the Wolfbrook Audi. Back to the lane with an update on the #1 car, Chris Stubbs. What on earth is going on with that door?
Well, you can see now the guys are just having a look at it, but it appears the mechanism inside is actually broken. I'll just see if I can get a word on that. Is that the take? It's not from contact, is it?
We're not sure at the moment. That's probably something we'll have to look at later on.
Okay, but at the moment the lat's just not working, was it at all?
Yeah, no, there's obviously a bit of a rush in the pit stop, and we're just trying to get it out as quick as we could.
Right, thanks for your time. I did see Brock Feeney here a moment ago. I can't actually see him at the moment. The guys are just smiling. The mechanic had to do the little update for us there, but no, Brock's not in the garage at the moment, but he was looking pretty disappointed. But there's no marks of contact around where the hinge attaches on that door that I could see whatsoever. So I think Ryan Wood is in the clear on that one in terms of any contact causing the problem.
Nice work, Stubbsy. Picking that. What? It's crazy, isn't it, this championship? They've just been super consistent, accumulating points every weekend, and then it could be something as crazy as a door latch not locking that is going to take them out of the points. They are last now. They're behind Cameron Campbell, who, remember, stopped with that puncture early in the race in his 13th position. So they've lost 3 laps relative to Sergio Perez, who is the race leader, who, by the way, is extending his margin out over Steve Brooks. So it's out to 3 seconds now, and Brooks alone is 1.3 in front of Elliott Shute. So they're actually spreading themselves apart, that lead group, for the podium. But Little 1%ers in motorsport. Sometimes it can be a driver, but sometimes it could be something as innocuous as a door hinge or a door latch that lets you down.
And to add insult to injury, the car behind Brad Schumacher on the road at the moment is our race leader, Sergio Perez. So what a shame. You just would not have that on your bingo card, Crailsey, of a reason to lose heaps of championship positions or championship points. A door latch failing, which I'm sure has worked 99% of the time, every time they've gotten in and out of that Audi over the last couple of years. So it's just the last thing you would expect, unfortunately, for them. They should have come out in about 3rd position in the pit stops. So that put them right out of contention, like you touched on, Crailsey. And we're just looking at, this is Justin Tagani in behind Mark Rosser. We've really spoken about Justin Tagani and the amazing job he's done so far this weekend, grabbing an unexpected pole position in those changing conditions in qualifying yesterday morning. Did a fantastic job on his first race start, leading the whole field and those restarts. Just lost the lead to Renee Gracie after she did an excellent overtake on him down to turn 4 in yesterday's race, but he's really putting the pressure on Mark Rosser here. So as they cross the line, Mark Rosser, the gap there is less than half a second, and Rosser does a 109.3. About half a second quicker than Lucchini, but he's about 5 seconds behind that 66 Move My Wheels Mercedes.
As you say, it's been a really good weekend for Justin, jumping in at short notice. He and Oscar have been, A, they're all in the same race suit, B, Justin's had to borrow Oscar's spare lid, so they've got exactly the same helmet going on as well, which when they're standing together both kitted up ready to go makes life slightly confusing. But he has been very, very fast, and they've had a really solid weekend, and again more solid championship points for the number 56 car, for Oscar Target in particular. The battle with Valentino Rossi in the young driver program that SRO are running up, and they are fighting for a nomination to get a spot at the 24 Hours of Spa next year. So the best young guns from all 4 corners of the GT World Challenge globe in the United States, in Asia, in Europe and in Australia get an opportunity to become part of the team and get a drive at Total 24 Hours of Spa next year. So that's what Oscar Target and Valentino Astudi are fighting for this year. They're going to be Australia's 2 contenders. Oscar is in front of those standings at the moment, so he will be hoping that car 56 remains in front. Car number 2, Darren Curran, is behind the wheel for the remaining less than 10 minutes of this one. Race number 2, GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS here at Queensland Raceway, the LIQUI GT Festival.
So going back to the pit stops, they changed the working side tyres, the left side tyres on this car, the 44 Guy Vaughan Mercedes. No tyres for the Steve Brooks Audi. Left side tyres for the number 56 Mercedes. And we've been told it seems, yeah, at least the left rear for the 44. But it looked like they've done working side tyres, which is normally a strategy for Tagani. They always seem to do working side tyres no matter where we race. Always a bit of a different strategy between them and the BRM car.
Yeah, different ways of approaching it, and it's certainly been a W to the Team BRM side of the Audi inter-team rivalry this weekend. Today, especially, what a good recovery. And how about that opening lap from Alex Peroni, which dragged the 268 car, ACMF Finance car, back into contention and got them up to 5th position with Mark Rosser behind the wheel now after the stop. What's been a quite frustrating weekend for that squad. They had the raw speed on Friday. Everyone looking at those cars going, wow, they are properly quick, both of them. So Perez, 3.3 seconds now. Sydney Sider, he's been racing for some time. He and Marcel Zalua are partners in the Gaia Valmont business. It's fairly broad, but they're heavily involved in major shop outfitting and setting up businesses, and really successful at what they do. They're passionate about their motor racing, and they've been involved in motorsport. They started racing together actually in Porsche Sprint Challenge a couple of years ago, and always good fun to go and have a chat to them. Always quite a good rivalry between the two boys. Zalua this year said, right Serge, it's all yours this year. You can have the full crack and try and win the title this season. So Marcel just having a quiet year. Sergio's got the racing budget, and he's doing a nice job out in front and looking for a second win of the season.
And if it stays like this, Crowsey, they're going to be leading the championship after that unfortunate issue for the #1 Kelso electrical Audi. And what else is interesting is that Elliott Shute and Brad Schumacher will be tied on points if Shute stays in 3rd position. So you wouldn't have thought that heading into this weekend, that those two cars would be tied on points. And this is going to be a huge opportunity for this 44 Mercedes, driven by Brendan Leach and Sergio Perez. And that was such a great opening stint from Brendan Leach, wasn't it? Got that move done early on at turn 1, well, turn 1 and turn 2. And that is really putting them in the box seat heading into the next round, which will be up in the top end at Hidden Valley Raceway.
Elliott won a young driver search program run by Arise Racing over in the West, and basically came from online racing and competition and straight into Radical Cup, where he was incredibly competitive. I know he's been keeping an eye on the Radical field this weekend, because the Arise Radical team continue to be on, as Justin Tagani just flashes the lights to try and unsettle Mark Rosser in Car U race for the first couple of rounds of this year's championship. Yeah, Elliott then stepped into 3 seasons ago the Ferrari alongside Jackson Evans, and they've built a great relationship. 5 times a winner now in GT World Challenge. All around is Cameron Rees, who was 2nd in the trophy class at the moment. And he said before the race on the grid in an interview with Charlie Bullow, he said, I wanted to use the second half of the race to try and make some ground after the pit stops. Well, he did that because he got up to 2nd, but he's lost the spot to the KFC Audi of Gary Higgin. So he's going to drop a little spot back to 3rd place in the trophy class in that Volante Rosso Aston Martin GT3. Back to Rusty.
I know what you were talking earlier in the commentary there about Jackson Evans being kind of philosophical about Saturday. Man, you guys have hustled on Sunday, and that potentially is going to help from a championship perspective, isn't it? That's a good recovery.
Yeah, for sure. You know, the start of the race was pretty full on, but we didn't quite have the speed to at least challenge the guys in front of us. But you know, we had some luck in the pit stop, executed well, and other than Elliott's little mistake, he's been doing a really strong job. So he's got some speed over Steve. Hopefully we can pass back for 2nd.
And how are you feeling from, you know, your stint and even the call you talked about around the pit stop? It did work well, didn't it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel good after my stint. It's so difficult in the aero wash here, and you know, I had front row seats to Woody and Brock's battle, and that was pretty cool to watch from my point of view. But you know, just doing our best to keep up with them and put Elliott in a good spot to bring it home.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Rocking the sporty new haircut this weekend. Confirmed that it was a fresh cut for this weekend. Cam Campbell's just come into pit lane as well for Zagami Motorsport in the number 23 Ferrari. It's been a pretty rough day for them. Might enjoy the flight over to Europe tonight when they jet out of Brisbane International to head over to the next round of the British GT Championship. Runs as a double-header with the French Series at Spa, and it's something of a warm-up for the 24 Hours of Spa that's coming in a couple of weeks' time as well. And word through from Motorsport Australia Race Control. They've had a look at the moments between car 88, which was Ryan Wood, and car 1, which was Brock Feeney. It was looked at, no further investigation required. So literally fair bump, play on.
Which is great for these guys because they're sitting in 2nd place in the race. So no clouds hanging over them. And I've got to say, Steve Brooks has been doing a fantastic job. He's really stepped it up this year. And if he can hang on here, that'd be a great result for them. It'd be the first time that they'll actually get to step on the podium. They were handed 3rd place in the 2nd race at Phillip Island after a post-race penalty for Brad Schumacher. But this will be great for them. Stubbsy?
Thought we'd catch up with Brock Feeney. Jackson Evans just saying he was loving the view from where he was watching you and Ryan Wood go toe-to-toe. We were loving it too from the driver's seat. How was it?
It was all right. It's probably not the most exciting racing, to be honest, when you just follow each other around. But Woody was pretty fast, so I tried making a couple moves there. Sort of just had the nose on me, then I had to sit off the track. But I'm glad there was one overtake for that first stint, because the rest wasn't too exciting, unfortunately.
No contact with the door. It looked like, from what we could see, there was no marks on the panel. That's not what's caused the problem?
No, I don't actually know what's happened, but the door latch has gone home. So unfortunately, we tried to get him back out there and it came straight back open. So the 23's just pitted, which means we're going to get a point out of today. It was looking unlikely there, so you got to take a point where you can, but obviously really unfortunate, but is what it is.
I think you and Brad have been around racing long enough to know that you have these days, right? But for the championship, it does hurt.
Yeah, it does, especially because yesterday probably wasn't our best either with the success penalty. So today was the day we had to capitalise, try and win or, you know, get as many points as we can. So we're going to be on the back foot a little bit now, but anyway, it's such a tight field these days. It's so easy to have a good race and a really average race. So we're going to have to get the hammer and tong a bit better for the next couple of rounds.
See you at Hidden Valley.
Thanks, mate. Cheers. Thanks, Tom.
He's a ripper egg. Brock Fetty. He's a good chat, honest to a fault, and engaging, and a pretty accurate summary of where they're at, really, with all of that. Sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug. Unfortunately, today they were the latter, but they're still very much going to be in the mix and in contention for a championship. Having that lead coming into the weekend has been handy for them. And at some point in a championship this competitive, you're more likely than not to have a bad day. So their bad days, I'm sure, will come for others in this year's GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS.
So as it stands, it'll be Tagani 1-2 in the championship, which is a great day out. They got both pole positions this weekend. And they're going to, as it stands, less than a minute and a half remaining, plus a lap. Looking good for Sergio Perez, which will be win number 2 for that car this season. New combination with Brendan Leach in with Perez this year. He was so long with the late Tim Miles. And that's been a really powerful combination this year. Leach with Tagani switching to a Mercedes from Audi. We've just seen a bad sportsmanship flag pop up for car 56, which is Justin Tagani.
I wonder what that might be. Well, track limits would be the only thing I can think of.
Turns out it's actually for flashing too much.
Oh, right. Well, he has been on the flashes behind Mark Rosser, so that is in the rule book. You can use the flasher too much. It's there as an aid to warn the lap traffic more than anyone, to let them know that you need to get past. It's an interesting one. Using the flasher too much. I'm not sure I recall ever having that as a bad sportsmanship flag in World Challenge Australia.
Well, apparently between the last corner and turn 1, it was reported that car 56, this car on screen, flashed 6 times. So that's the bad sportsmanship flag. So maybe stay off that button, Justin. Clearly knows where it is, even though he hasn't been driving these cars for very long.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the first buttons you learn apart from the pit limiter.
Well, and the other fun thing about it is it has not affected Mark Rosser one iota. No. He remains firmly and steadfast in 5th position. Pretty decent return for the Team BRM Audi team today, a top 5, anchored by that brilliant start. Tasmanian Alex Peroni. Having said that, Tagani's had a very good run through turn 2. They're firing down the back straight. Don't know if he's going to be close enough to have a big stab down the inside here at turn 3. As long as Mark can hit his braking marker, he should be okay here, which he is. Meanwhile, out in front, Sergio Perez, 44-year-old from Sydney. His wife Jackie, daughters Madeline and Gigi will be back home in Sydney, cheering him on. Was a winner for the first time last time out at the Bend Motorsport Park. It was a long time coming in GT World Challenge Australia. And you'll get one more lap to celebrate and hold on. They were ready with the checkered flag, but the timing wasn't quite ready. They've got one more lap to play this one out. The margin's 2.5 seconds.
One lap to savour this lead that he has. What another great drive from Sergio Perez and Brendan Leach. This is, as we've said, putting them in the box seat for the championship.
The halfway point of this year's GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS. It all finishes the end of the year at the BP Adelaide Grand Final on the streets of Adelaide. It is going to be a massive place for a title showdown. Before that, though, a trip to the top end in Hidden Valley, and then the fast-flowing confines of Sydney Motorsport Park under lights is going to be a massive challenge as well. Still a lot of racing to go. But at the halfway point of the season, Tigani have put a full stop, an exclamation point on their season. And having come into the year looking for his first race win, he's going to make it to Sergio Perez. After a brilliant start by Brendan Leach, the guy of Valmont Racing, Tigani Mercedes has won for a second time this season in GT World Challenge Australia. And it's a runner-up for Steve Brooks and Ryan Wood. It is the 4th time they've finished second in a World Challenge race. Oh, win number 1 can't be too far away for the popular Kiwi combo. And Elliott Shute and Jackson Evans. Good pit stop strategy from them. An excellent stint from Jackson Evans at the start. And Elliott Shute brought it home. They get a podium finish and keep themselves very much in the championship hunt after disappointment yesterday.
Yeah, great drive from Steve Brooks as Darren Curry hangs on to 7th in front of Renee Gracie. Good recovery drive from the 268 Audi, like you touched on, Crailsey, from Peroni and Rosser. Rosser managed to hang on to the pressure that he had from Justin Tigani.
Well, and it's rare you go back-to-back in GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS, with the pit stop time, but that is what they've done in the Porsche camp. The Porsche side of the Tigani garage, winning yesterday. Luke Youlden anchored, Nathan Halstead brought it home. They get a second win. They needed a big haul of championship points from this weekend because they were a little far behind. This has worked out perfectly for them. Confirmation of results. It was 1 second in the end. The second win of the year for Brendan Leach and Sergio Perez and Tigani. Ryan Wood and Steve Brooks home in second for Audi and Wolfbrook Team BRM. And then Jackson Evans and Elliott Shute home in 3rd place. A big gap back to Jaden Ojeda, who started a long way down the order. Good recovery from them with Paul Lucidi to get 4th. Peroni and Rosser after that epic stint to start the race from Peroni, having started this one in 13th position. Oscar Target and Justin Tigani were next in 6th place with a longer pit stop. Astudi and Curry were next. Then yesterday's winners, Renee Gracie and Will Davis, and Adrian Dietz and Tony D'Alberto. Solid day for them in the Lambo in 9th. And then rounding out the top 10 was the trophy class winning Porsche 911 GT3R of Nathan Halstead, who's behind the wheel, and Luke Youlden, who drove the car to the checkered flag. Yesterday, they win their class for the 2nd time in 2 days, and Tigani sweep the race once again. So they have had an enormous amount of success in both Pro-Am and indeed the trophy class battle here at Queensland Raceway.
So it was 1 second between the top 2 across the line and 2 seconds between the top 3. So that really closed up at the end there, and after 1 hour racing, to have the top 3 covered by 2 seconds, pretty impressive here at Queensland Raceway, Crailsey.
Yeah, it did close up in the end. That margin had been extended out. And that win for Perez, the job that Brendan Leach did at the start to anchor the opening stint, to get the car in the front for starters with a big move around the outside of Oscar Target, was key, but then also to extend that gap. He built 7 seconds before the pit stop. They had 5 seconds longer in the pit stop time, and that was the margin they need. They ended up with 2 second buffer. They won the race by a second. Worked perfectly.
Now, on the other end of that, the Brad Schumacher Kelso Electrical Audi 3 laps down, unfortunately. 2 laps down, unfortunately. Look at Leach. I think he's pretty stoked with that one, as is Sergio.
Second win of the season.
They're wrapped.
That is an outstanding result for a very, very likeable combination in GT World Challenge Australia. Powered by AWS, your winners today, Rusty, Sergio Perez and Brendan Leach.
And the little raw Crailsey, I think, really says how much this means to Serge. Can we get in with Brendan first? Congratulations. Mega start was key today, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was everything for us. Just getting the tyre temp up to be able to get stuck into it straight away. Car was amazing. Like, I can't thank Tigani and Mercedes enough for what they've given us. It's yeah, we thought we came into this weekend on the back foot, but like yesterday's qualifying was just all about executing when it was tough out there and not dry. So we were able to do it. Serge did an amazing drive at the end to bring it home for us. I was so nervous. I was sick not being in the car myself at the end, and just super happy that we could bring it home. You know, I was not trying to get too excited until we'd crossed the line as a repeat of Phillip Island. So, yeah, just super stoked. Thankful for the team and Serge for having me to do it all with him.
Okay, so my director is telling me while you guys are here with me, you lead by 9 points at the halfway mark of the championship. We are not done yet, but the recent success for this squad, man, that's good, and you have delivered again. Do you feel like that's perhaps an even better performance than your last one?
He gave me a gap this time, so I didn't have the pressure of the start, but feels good to be able to bring it home and be back after Phillip Island. We thought it was going to take us a while to get back in the championship, so to lead it 2 rounds later, pretty happy with that.
Good on you, boys. Congratulations. We'll see you for some champagne shortly. Lovely job by Tagani Motorsport. Let's bring Brooksy in over here because the Wolfbrook Audi is, you guys are, the nice congratulation among the Kiwis here. You are tantalisingly close now to that top spot, mate, aren't you?
Mate, I was close. I was trying to catch him every lap. They're like, just go another 10th, another 10th. And you tell you, another 10th's quite difficult. But, you know, we're up on the wheel. The car's set up fantastic. Ryan did a great job, handed it over to me, and then just had to bring it home.
From your stint, I mean, you gave it your all, mate. If you had a couple more laps, what are you thinking?
Oh, a couple more laps, I definitely would have got Serge. I'll tell you, I was chasing him down. He was getting puffed. I could tell.
Hey, well done to you. Ripping stint, you know, from your point of view. Back into this championship is going to be super interesting now, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Congrats to Serge and Brendan and the Tagani team. They're super fast. Even though they're complaining about the bop, they still win. So we need to give them some more. But yeah, we're happy. It was P2 today, but yeah, had a lot of fun out there, and it was yeah, overall this weekend we were super fast. So really proud of this guy. He pulled his socks up and didn't take him all weekend to get the speed, and he did it today. So yeah, really proud of him, and he's just kept coming in leaps and bounds. And I think Serge was maybe in conserve mode on that last lap, so we won't get our hopes up too much.
All right, see you at the podium shortly. Well done.
Thanks very much.
All right, let's go here to third place. I know we didn't get a chance to talk prior to the race today. That kind of puts Saturday very much in the rearview mirror. You gave us a little heart starter at 2, though.
Yeah, I had a moment at 2, and then yeah, gave Brooksy the run. So well done to those guys. They're just too fast. Yeah.
Okay. Well, on the whole, though, today, I mean, you and I talked just before the finish of that race. Collectively, your stint, even the call from a pit stop standpoint, it worked, didn't it?
Yeah, look, anytime we finish on the podium is always a positive, and you know, although we're running second, it's still nice to finish there, grab trophy, and you know, recover from yesterday's results. So, you know, we'll get back to work and hopefully come out swinging when we go up north to Darwin.
Cool. Well done, boys. See you at the podium. Congratulations. Let's go to. This is becoming a bit of a habit, isn't it? Is that a habit you can get used to?
We hope so, yes.
Well done. Hey, did that stint feel good?
Pretty good, but pretty tired now. So yeah, cooked.
You're not. You were in good form by the looks of it again on Sunday.
Yeah, well, we're not supposed to win the second race after winning the first one, of course. You get the success time, so it just gives Nathan an opportunity to undo some more champagne bottles. Yeah. Getting used to that.
Okay, well, you can get used to that. Head there now. Congratulations to you both.
A little backhander there from Luke Youlden. Nathan struggled with the champagne yesterday. As we go back and have a look at the highlights from race 2, GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS. The opening lap, it turned out Thomas Randall was utterly critical to this race in so many circumstances, but that big move around the outside, the yellow and black of the Mercedes AMG. Brendan Leach behind the wheel, centred, got the race lead. That was key.
In classic Brendan Leach fashion, that was a pivotal move for the championship, as we'd see later on. This was that contact between Will Davison and Josh Buchan, which just lost him a bit of momentum down the straight, ultimately having contact with Valentino Astudi at turn 1, as you're about to see, gave the Ferrari that right rear puncture and really took them out of contention. So unfortunately couldn't get to see what the pace that we'd seen in this car, what they could have done in this race.
The intensity level was high in the early stages of this one. Oscar Target was a little roadblock for the two Audis there in a fight for second, third and fourth, and then this the first of 2 moments between these two. A big send up the inside by Ryan Wood. The lightest of little bits of contact. He backed out of it and let Feeney take that advantage, but that battle would continue again as they came down here to turn 4. Once again, this was about 15 minutes later. They just checked up. Feeney was caught out. He ran wide a little bit. This was the opportunity for Ryan Wood to get up the inside. Puff of smoke between the two of them. Feeney wide, Wood through. Race control all clear with that. Hard racing, and then the pit stops commenced.
Yeah, a little bit of understeer there for Feeney. Great stop on the marks there for Oscar Target, and we saw the top 4 all pit, and then it all just unravelled for the number 1 Kelso Electrical Audi. They could not get that driver door shut, which bled so much time. By the time they came in multiple times, eventually changing the door, they're 2 laps down.
Racy JC there trying to slam an Audi door, and even he couldn't get that thing shut. And then a big moment for Elliott Shute. He was running second at this time after the pit stops. They stayed out a lap later, got an overcut. It got them in front of the Wolfbrook Audi, but a little moment from Shute coming out to start his stint was all the opportunity that Steve Brooks needed. He retook second, but out in front for the second win of the season for Guy Valmont and Tigani Motorsport. It's Brendan Leach and Sergio Perez. They are new championship leaders in GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS. And the margin, 9 championship points at the halfway point of the season, Thomas Randall. But having said that, it is ferociously close behind. So you go back, Brock Feeney and Brad Schumacher now only 12 points off the lead. Jackson Evans and Elliott Shute 13 points off the lead, and Mark Rosser 15 points off the lead. 25 points for a race win. So now Steve Brooks and Ryan Wood with a good day today. They're only 24 points off at the halfway point of the season. It is still anyone's game.
Oh, it is crazy. There's so many cases up and down pit lane of what could have been for everyone. Everyone's had their moments throughout the year. Luchidi and Ojeda, race 1 at Phillip Island, that DNF, or that off at turn 1. Leach and Perez, Phillip Island race 2. Feeney Schumacher, the door. Jackson Evans and Shute, the penalty yesterday. You add all that up and look where we are at the halfway point. 13 points separating first back to 4th in the championship.
It's ferociously competitive, and the intensity this year is, I think, a notch up from where we were 12 months ago in this championship. There are more cars with more opportunities to win in this year's GT World Challenge Australia. Just outside that position, 30 points off the lead now, Oscar Target, after a tough day today where they ended up a little bit further back than perhaps they'd planned. But confirmation of the results, 3 different brands in the top 3, Mercedes-AMG on top, Audi in second position, and Ferrari for Arise Racing GT, and the Lance East Exotics entry of Jackson Evans and Elliott Shute in 3rd position on the podium and keeping themselves very much in the mix. And then it'll be the trophy class podium now for the 2nd time in 2 days. Now, yesterday there were some issues popping the cork for Nathan Halstead.
Seemed like a technical issue with the either the bottle or maybe it was a driver error. So he's had practice now 24 hours ago, or just under 24 hours ago. This is going to be a very important moment for Nathan Halstead. And he gets it straight away. There we go.
Oh, the reaction is good. He popped the cork, he got it done. Double victories for the Porsche team in the trophy class in GT World Challenge Australia. Their next stop is at Hidden Valley Raceway in just under a month's time. We cannot wait to get up there with the GT cars for the first time. In the meantime, we are going to take a break from Queensland Raceway. There's still so much more to come your way from the Shannons Speed Series and the LIQUI MOLY GT Festival Queensland. We'll be on the grid with the Mustangs when we come back.
That is your GT World